Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the Veterans Virtual Job Fair. Today, we will be hearing from 10 employers hiring for positions across multiple industries. Each employer will speak for 10 minutes to give you some information about their company and will highlight the job openings they currently have. If you have questions at any time, please type them into the chat and we will address them during the Q&A session that will be taking place after all the employers have presented. Today's session is being recorded and will be made available in the employer booths for you to refer to later. Now, I am pleased to introduce Richard with IDES. Richard?
Good morning. On behalf of the Illinois Department of Employment Security's Acting Director Richards, welcome to today's Veterans Virtual Recruitment Series. Thank you to our employers, military service members, and spouses for taking part in today's event. A special thank you to our workforce partner, Illinois WorkNet, for helping facilitate the activities. My name is Richard Withrich, Statewide Veterans Program Manager for IDES. I served in the United States Army Field Artillery, Multiple Launch Rocket System, and retired after 22 years. I've been with IDES since 2003 and Statewide Veterans Program Manager since 2014. Today, we want to focus on our featured employer panel to find out more about their businesses and job opportunities, including how to apply. Today's employer panel is AAR, Argonne Labs, Baxter, Department of Children and Family Services, National Tube Supply, Rosalind Franklin University, Hidden Valley, Smithfield Foods, Midwestern University, X-Cel Technologies Incorporated, University of Illinois, and VA Eliana Medical Healthcare. As job seekers, you may want to take notes and pick up on keywords used by the speakers to possibly incorporate into your resumes. I turn this over to our Veterans Business Specialist.
Thank you, Richard. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. My name is Mike Kilcommons. I'm a 6-year Air Force veteran. I've been working with the Illinois Department of Employment Security for 12. Troy Primus from AAR. Good morning, Troy. How are you doing today, sir?
Good morning. Doing well. Doing well. Can you hear me? Good.
We have you loud and clear, Troy. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Troy Primus. I'm the Vice President of Operations here at AAR Services in Rockford. I basically, we basically do aircraft maintenance for a numerous amount of customers, commercial and also military. We're located in Rockford, Illinois, which is about an hour drive or maybe an hour and a half away from Chicago. It depends on where you live. And basically, I just want to do a quick overview. I don't know if one question I had, if I'm sharing my screen, are you guys going to do the presentation for me? I'll see it. You do. Let's do it now.
Troy, we will actually be navigating the presentation for you.
Okay.
So
All right. Thank you.
Go to the next slide.
Okay. Yep. Let's go ahead and move to the next slide. So if you guys don't know what AAR is about, we're the largest MRO for commercial maintenance in North America. We're the 3rd largest in the world. We have various locations where we do maintenance. Rockford is one of them, and also the newest facility here. At the bottom, you'll see numerous locations that we have in our network: Oklahoma City, Indianapolis, Miami, Florida. And also we have 2 Canadian facilities, and also we're right now in the process of doing a joint venture in India. Next slide, please. This is our leadership group. Danny Kleiman is actually, I report to him. He's a group VP for repair and engineering for all the MRO services. And also I'm the accountable manager here in Rockford. This is a part of my team in various positions for the senior leadership. Next slide, please. Basically, this is an overview of Rockford. We're a FAA 145 repair station, EASA certified. We have 288,000 square feet of total hangar space. 2 hangars are self-contained, 90,000 square feet. Both hangars are about 3 years old, so they're fairly new. And we employ currently on staff, we have 206 employees on staff, 178 technicians. We work 2 10-hour shifts. And also we apply about 1,000 man hours a day. So that's just give you an overview of how much work we're doing per day on average. Next slide. This is basically a layout of our hangar space, just to give you a visual of, I don't know how many people are familiar with aircraft, but, this 767 is a pretty, large size aircraft. We could fit those in there with 2 additional aircraft with no problem. Next slide. And this is some of our customers that we service for maintenance. You see some of the well-known names like United, Air Canada. We do maintenance for ATI, Sun Country, TUI, Spirit Airlines, and Amazon are numerous customers we have, along with military programs that we also do commercial and also military program maintenance for. Next slide. This is basically an overview of our safety management position. This is something we just want to showcase a little bit, be proud of. We're the first employer in North America to get MRO to be certified for this from the FAA. So basically, this is a big milestone. All the airlines use SMS. Is basically a safety reporting method to make sure that anything that you have concerns with is being reported appropriately, and it's anonymous, or it could be voluntarily notified. So it's a big program. We take pride in it because we want to do things right and make sure we have a quality product when everything leaves this facility. Next slide. And this is just basically an overview of aircraft we completed here in the past 2 to 3 years that we've been at this location, and in various modifications that we've done. Just an overview of what we do here, so everybody's familiar with what kind of work we do here in AAR Rockford. Next slide. And like I said, we're trying to grow. We're looking for technicians. Also, we have other positions for force production controllers, which are their job is to make sure all the documents for aircraft records are handled properly, ensuring that all the records are accurate. Also, we have positions open for the warehouse, which handles all materials in regards to receiving them, ensuring the proper documents to make sure they're airworthy. And in addition to that, we have tooling positions open. These gentlemen also, and ladies, also ensure all tools are in good condition and calibrated accurately. So like I said, we continue to grow here. Outlook's well. I know in our other locations, we have had a downtick due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Unfortunately, here in Rockford, we have actually been kind of the bright star of the bunch. We actually had growth while managing through the pandemic. So just to kick that, just so you can go ahead and close the slide, just to kick this off a little bit, we're actively looking for, we do have a lot of military veterans that are currently employed here. Right now, we're average around close to 30% that prior military, which includes myself, and a good portion of my leadership staff are also prior military. A lot of guys like myself, when you leave transition from, I was in the Navy, when you transition from the Navy, you're unaware of what opportunities, if you do or are in the aviation background field, what opportunities you have to transition that into the civilian field. So I came out of the military. I was in there for 5 years. I worked on fighter jets as an engine mechanic, and I transitioned my skills when I got out. I got a job as a technician, entry level, at another MRO. Started my work working there and worked my way up through the ranks from there, of course, schooling, et cetera, to get where I'm at now. But there's a lot of opportunity for vets. If you're not in the aviation field but do have mechanical background, we do have entry-level positions as service techs that you could entry-level with mechanical backgrounds that you could, enter into the aviation field and get that needed experience and grow from there. We had to have several guys that have went that route, and also sometimes they turn out to be the best technicians. And we also have various other positions, such as, like I said, production controller and tooling that you guys are interested in. We could also look in that aspect as well. So after that, I'll just turn over for any questions. I do have Terry. She's my HR manager here. She's here to help. And if any questions in regards to application or any questions in regards to benefits or what we have to offer for any kind of relocation assistance, et cetera.
Well, Troy, thank you very much for your time and your service. We will be taking questions and answers at the end. And next up, we have Mr. Kevin Radar, who's representing Argonne Labs. Good morning, Kevin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, good. What do you have?
Yeah, so I'll start kind of just with introducing myself, and then I'll turn it over to Vital. So my name is Kevin Rader. I joined Argonne Labs 1 year ago. I transitioned out of the Navy after 9 years as a nuclear submarine officer and master training specialist, and now I run the electrical safety program for the lab. And today, we're going to be given a quick overview of kind of what we do at Argonne, which is tough to fit into 10 minutes because there's a lot. But we have a pretty strong veteran force here and a lot of opportunities available for you right now. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. My name's Vitaly Rikluk. I'm our talent acquisition specialist. And like Kevin said, we hire a lot of veterans across Argonne, across a variety of different skill sets, and we're happy to be here. Could we go to the next slide? So right there, you can see just a picture of our campus right there. I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with Waterfall Glen, but we're located right in the middle of it in the Lamont area. So Argonne is a Department of Energy research facility located in Lamont, Illinois, about 25 miles southwest of the city of Chicago. We are partnered and contracted through the University of Chicago. So we are a federal facility, but we are not federal employees. We're actually federal contractors. So we're not on the GS scale, but just wanted to mention that. We can go to the next slide. We have a really rich history here at Argonne. We were the first national lab founded in the United States. Our initial mission was research behind the Manhattan Project in World War II. The second person from the right there is Enrico Fermi, who is, clearly one of the, founders and main people of the Manhattan Project right there. We go to the next slide. And then just so you know, one of our main missions is just promoting the U.S. prosperity and security, across the United States. We do all different types of work, here at Argonne that could be ranging from physics, chemistry, computing, material sciences, our global security. So there's all different types of research that we do. We're an open science lab where we do, theoretical science, and then we also do applied science as well. We go to the next slide. Over here, you can just see some of our major initiatives that we have here. That first one right there, we're X-ray sciences. We are going through a upgrade of our advanced photon source. So just so that everyone's aware, we are hiring a variety of different skill sets, primarily technicians for our upgrade, surveyors, and then also mechanical designers. We also have other initiatives. We are in the process of building the first exascale supercomputer. We are doing some quantum research work. And then most recently, we were involved with different types of COVID research as well too, to help support that crisis as well. Next slide. And then this is just an overview of our world-class community of talent. So in terms of full-time employees, we have about 3,300. Some people find that quite surprising. People drive by Argonne down I-55 all the time and don't realize how large it is. So roughly about 1,400 of those are scientists and researchers. And then we have 1,800 plus operational type positions. So if you're not a scientist or researcher, that doesn't mean you can't be employed at Argonne. We have all different sorts of positions that can range from a lot of skilled trade areas that could be maintenance, electrical type work, machining, skill sets like that. We hire for IT, safety, accounting and finance, procurement, and just many, many more areas. So right now, I think we have around 100 openings on our job board. I'll share some links in the chat afterwards, but definitely a lot of opportunity here. And then just showing some pictures of some of just the work that we do. A lot of it is still, skilled trade work. It's a very important part where they're supporting our researchers and enabling them to do what they need to do. So next few slides are just kind of some pictures that we have here. This is our original central shops back from 1950, and so on. So we have the operational aspect of Argonne has been a critical part of just, supporting our researchers here. Go to the next slide. So some skill sets that we hire for, we hire for welding. Some of this might look familiar to people here. We also hire for fabricating. We go to the next slide as well. And then we hire machinists. We can hire like skilled machinists. We can hire machinist trainees. So like I said, a lot of our skill sets are in the skilled trade areas that we're hiring for. And then vehicle maintenance as well. We currently have an opening for a driver and rigger. We go to the next slide. So if anyone has some type of background in that area, if you have a CDL, we currently have an active opening. So I'll throw the link to our career page on that. And then I'll pass it over to Kevin, where he could talk about just our facilities and utility systems.
Yeah, so one of the really cool things about Argonne, at least in my opinion, is that it truly is its own mini little city. So as you can see on the slide, we have over 100 miles of piping. Many of the buildings that we have are original still from the 1950s. So if you have any experience in steam generation and distribution, natural gas distribution, of course, domestic water and sanitary, we hire for all of those as well. Myself, I work primarily in the electrical side of things, and we have over 50 miles of electrical distribution on site. So we, even though ComEd supplies us, we do run our own utility. And we have high voltage electrical workers for that as well. The other thing I did want to mention on this is we also, because it's a research facility, of course, we're looking into clean energy, green energy, renewables, all of that stuff. And as we kind of get more and more involved in that realm, there'll likely be more and more opportunities coming up for folks to get trained in solar, wind, those types of things as well. Next slide. So again, some more examples of work that gets done here. We have a pretty large facilities maintenance department. So on the left-hand side, you can see a qualified electrical worker conducting a visual inspection in a circuit breaker. Again, we do everything from hands-on electrician type work to communications, radio frequency, all sorts of stuff. And then if you're more on the mechanical side of things, we have that as well. Pump alignments, like I said, steam systems, cooling towers, water towers, it's pretty much a place where if you're interested in working here, there's probably a type of job available for you. Next slide. So waste mechanic technicians, this is something else that's a little more unique to Argonne maybe. So we do have a few nuclear facilities on site, no nuclear reactors, but we do still dabble in nuclear materials. And so these, we have some waste mechanic technicians who work in our hot cells, which are secure facilities for nuclear materials. So you either could be a hot cell operator, right, working with the materials through the safety rooms here, like you see on the slide, or we have nuclear waste mechanics as well, that are more involved in building D&D, nuclear equipment maintenance, de-inventorying of hot cell facilities, that type of stuff. Next slide.
Sorry to interrupt, Kevin. We have about one more minute until we have to move on to our next presenter.
Okay, thank you. A little bit more in the nuclear side. So since we do have nuclear stuff, we have health physics technicians as well. So if you have any experience in dosimetry or monitoring radiation at all, we have positions for that as well. Next slide. And this is a list of some background type things that we specifically look for in hiring. I don't know if you want to talk on that, Kelly.
Yep, and just kind of wrapping things up, knowing that we're coming up to our time here. I would say if anyone's looking at our job career board, just look at the qualifications of it. If there's certain educational requirements, take a look at that because a lot of times those are required. And then we could just move forward to the next slide. Just want to mention that we do have a Veterans Employee Resource Group here that was chartered 3 years ago today. And this is just to obviously, get people with get people who, might have familiar backgrounds, and then also just, help people with the transition to the civilian world as well too. So thank you for letting us come here, and I'll put in some information in the chat because I saw that there were a couple of questions.
Kevin and Vitaly, thank you so much for your time. Our next panelist, we have Mr. Daniel Moreland. He's representing Baxter. Morning, Daniel. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good. What do you have for us today, sir?
All right. So first of all, welcome everybody. We are honored to be a part of Illinois' Veterans Job Expert. I want to talk about Baxter and what we are. Baxter is a global healthcare company headquartered in Deerfield, Illinois. In Illinois, we have 2 sites, Deerfield and then also our Round Lake campus. Additionally, across the border, we do have a manufacturing site in Bloomington, Indiana as well. In today's job market, we know that you guys have options, and we hope that you'll consider Baxter as a future employer. Next slide. So I'd like to share with you again who we are and what we do. Baxter is a complex organization and multinational businesses. We have 500,000 employees across 100 countries. The main reason candidates join Baxter is a shared passion towards bringing products and solutions to save and sustain lives and patients every day. Together, we design, develop, and deliver medicine, medical services, and technological solutions to patients who at some point in their life may need critical care or direct delivery in their homes of medical care. Next slide, please. At Baxter, we believe it's important to have guiding principles on how we do what we do. One of the things that we do is we measure our individual and organizational success using the One Baxter Force multiplier. Quarterly performances are reviewed and communicated to all employees worldwide. Performance goals are measured through 4 main focus areas here: patient safety and quality, growth through innovation, best place to work, and industry-leading performance. We use culture levers in selecting our talent and developing our talent into future leaders and senior professionals. We seek individuals with competencies that match our culture levers: speed, simplicity, courage, and collaboration. Next slide, please. Here is a list of our compensation package, which includes a breadth of benefits and assistance to full-time employees of Baxter. I do want to point out that one of the things that we do offer is 20 days of PTO. We also offer 10 holidays per year. And then one of the things I wanted to point out as well is our paid parental leave for both moms and dads. Next slide. And today I'd like to talk about some of the openings that we have with Baxter in our Round Lake campus. So we are looking for some engineers. So a senior manager of operational excellence, a principal systems engineer, a senior manager sterilization engineer, and an equipment maintenance supervisor. In our quality, we are looking for laboratory associate 2s, an EHS associate, a QMS sustaining manager, and a research associate. Some of our frequent openings that we have in our drug delivery building are quality associates, as well as quality technicians. manufacturing technicians, production technicians, and material handlers. Next slide. And then now I will go ahead and turn it over to my talent partner, Kendra Stackhouse.
Awesome, thanks, Daniel. Our Baxter patient delivery is based out of Waukegan, Illinois, but it also services all of the US. Our Baxter drivers deliver dialysis product to a diverse home patient base in kidney dialysis centers. Home patient visits consist of delivering dialysis solution, rotation of stock, order accuracy with occasional order pickup and returns. CDL delivery drivers and service specialists starting pay is around $23.08 per hour with 2 years of experience. Most of our drivers work 4 10-hour days or 5 8-hour days, with the most common shift being 4 10-hour days. Some of the minimum must-haves for this role, and this role is physically demanding, requires deliveries in urban and rural locations. Home deliveries require specialists to deliver up to and at times exceeding 45 cases per delivery. You must be 21 years of age, have a high school education or equivalent, a Class A or Class B CDL, a minimum of 1 year driving comparable equipment. This position does require some overnight travel, but it is infrequent. Next slide, please. And then we also have our Baxter customer service pharmacy technicians, which is located out of our Deerfield, Illinois site. Our Baxter customer service pharmacy technicians act as a primary contact for order fulfillment, customer product inquiries, product services, reverse distributions, and satisfaction issues within our renal department. So the starting pay for our customer service technicians is $19.23, which averages to be about $40,000 annually. This position does allow for overtime pay as well. This is a great entry-level opportunity. It's a Monday through Friday position, 9:30 to 6 p.m. Some of the minimums for this role is you must have experience managing telephones, fax, electronic, or web product orders, 4 to 6 years customer service experience, a strong ability to multitask, proficient level of product knowledge and therapy, which you will be trained, high school education or equivalent. With this position, you must be able to work mandatory overtime and you must become a certified pharmacy technician within 2 years. The great thing about this position is Baxter will pay for the licensing of the pharmacy technician.
Thank you, Kendra. As of today, we could not go over all of the positions that we have open at Baxter, so we would encourage you to take a look at our website at jobs.baxter.com for a list of all of our current openings, not only in Illinois, but globally as well. And thank you guys again for allowing us to be here.
Daniel, thank you so much for your and your team's time. Our next panelist is Evia Ortega, representing the Department of Children and Family Services. Good morning, Evia. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, good. What do you have for us today?
Okay, so Illinois Department of Children and Family Services, we're a state of Illinois agency, and we are the ones that are charged with investigating allegations of abuse and neglect of children. We license daycares and we manage the foster parent program. So we've got a lot of employment opportunities that we are trying to fill vacancies for throughout the state of Illinois. And as the recruiter for Cook County in Northern Illinois, I can tell you that there's a lot of spots in Northern area. Next slide, please. So the opportunities that we have available right now are posted on work.illinois.gov. And some of these opportunities are Children and Family Services intern positions. And these are, although the title says intern, they're actually trainee positions. So this is a great opportunity for anyone wanting to get into social work or investigations with child welfare and has a bachelor's degree at a human services field. So whether it's psychology, sociology, social work, criminal justice, for example, but doesn't have that experience in child welfare, you can apply for these positions and that will allow you to have a full-time job with salary, great benefits. You'll carry a lighter caseload because we want you to get the experience with us. And then once you've had the prerequisite number of years of experience, which is based on the degree that you have, you can promote to the higher positions. And the higher positions are the Child Protection Specialist, which is our investigator, and the Child Welfare Specialist, which is the case manager. Next slide, please. So applying for a spot with a state agency means that you have to complete an employment application. It's called the CMS 100 application, and it's available on the work.illinois.gov website. You would fill out that application, making sure to be very detailed when you're including things in your work history. For those of our veterans out there, know that we do give veterans preference, and we want you to list your military ranks as separate positions and being careful to translate military terminology into civilian terms. You can get assistance with that with your local veterans reps at the Department of Employment Security offices or online as well at that work.illinois.gov. It can route you out to some resources for you. So once you get your application ready, you're going to go to that website and look for posted vacancies. When you see the posted vacancy you want to apply for, print it out so you'll make sure you have that person's contact information later, and then submit your application in response to that vacancy. We ask that you also include photocopies of your official transcripts when you're submitting applications. We don't need your original transcripts, so you can go ahead and open them up and make copies of that. Photocopies is enough. And know that on the application, we do accept electronic signatures now. The current version of the application is September of 2020. Once you submit your application, you're just waiting for an invitation to interview from that agency. Next slide. So things that I want you to watch out for on that application, errors tend to occur in the position title, your social security number, mailing address, and forgetting to sign and date the application. So when you're completing the application, be careful that you're matching the position title to what's posted on the vacancy. For example, if you were to submit a application for child protection specialist and you put something like CPS or you wrote DCFS investigator, our graders are not allowed to make assumptions and they cannot assume that you're talking about the child protection specialist. So you literally have to write down the full title in that application, the full correct technical title, which is what's posted on the vacancies. Make sure you give us your full social security number. A lot of people want to just give us the last 4 digits, but unfortunately that's not enough information for us to be able to process your application. So we do require that complete number. Ensure that your mailing address is correct. So if you move, when you're doing your new applications, make sure you're updating that information. And then if you move and you've already submitted an application with an old address, there's a form available on work.illinois.gov that will allow you to update your personal information. And again, please make sure that you're signing and dating the applications. Next slide, please. So this is a little snippet of that first page. And you could see how we've put in the complete position title. This particular position has a bilingual option, so that's option SS for Spanish speaking. And then the bid ID is the posting ID that is on the vacancy you're responding to. Again, your complete social security number, make sure that your address is correct, and at the bottom, signing and dating. Now, what I don't have on here for those veterans out there is in between these sections on that first page is a section for veterans preference. It's number 9 on that application. Just choose the option that's appropriate for your situation and submit the documentation that it tells you is required. Everyone else who is not a veteran, you're going to just skip number 9, okay? Next slide, please. All right, so I want to just take a second and just reiterate that on the work history, make sure that you're listing it in chronological order from your most recent employer to your oldest employer. If you've grown within a company, you've changed positions, we want you to list each one of those positions as a separate work history or a separate entry in your work history. Again, military ranks should be a separate entry in your work history. Be very detailed in your work duties. Huge mistake people make is where they try to just copy and paste their job description or give us very vague information. We literally need to know what you did and how often you perform those duties in order to be able to gauge your proficiency levels. So if you tell me you ran an office, I need to know, whether you opened and closed that office. Did you oversee staff? What did you do when you were overseeing the staff? Were you in charge of discipline? Were you in charge of scheduling? How often do you perform those duties? And that information is what's going to help us to determine how much experience you have in that particular field. Okay. This is our email address. If you have any questions for us after today's session, you can email them there. If you have questions about the application you can't get to us, give CMS Examining a call. And I just want to reiterate that with the state of Illinois, we do have amazing benefits. In addition to providing veterans preference, we do have health, dental, life, and vision. We have paid vacation, personal, sick time, holidays, paid paternity leave. We have a retirement savings plan and a pension. We have a tuition reimbursement program. Most of our positions are covered under a union contract. And we have promotional opportunities both within the agency of DCFS and between agencies. So it's a large network of being able to maneuver and promote throughout your career with the state. Okay. Hopefully I didn't throw too much at you guys, but I want you to know that we are available for questions. So please feel free to ask. And I want to thank you again for your time today.
Ms. Ortega, thank you very much for your time. It's much appreciated. Our next panelist is Jaren Urban, representing Hidden Valley. Good morning, Jaren. How are you doing today?
Morning. Good. How are you guys?
Oh, wonderful. What do you have for us today?
Well, first off, I do have another coworker with me. Her name is Tracy Strandberg. She's the HR coordinator as well. So we're going to kind of be double tagging this. Good morning. So we're kind of, to begin, welcome to Wheeling. This is kind of the old front office that we used to enter in and out of, and then now it's the new front office. So you guys kind of get a taste of how we've kind of expanded throughout the years. So if you want to go to the next slide.
So Hidden Valley is a salad dressing manufacturing plant. And if you look at the overview here, so we're about 140,000 square feet. We were purchased back in 1982 from a company called Loritzen. They were a co-packer for us for just, we just manufactured the dry packets of Hidden Valley here. And then back in 1986, we added the bottled Hidden Valley. And then about 10 years later, we brought in KC Masterpiece barbecue sauce. And then we've also brought in KC Masterpiece marinades. We have 4 bottling lines, 3 of them run at one time. And then we also have 1 dry packaging line. We're currently at about 215 employees and growing. We are continuously hiring for all positions, and I'll go over to them in detail in a second. Right now, we are a 24/5 operation in our packaging department, and that's our bottle line. And then in our dry department, which isn't noted here, we are 410s, running 4 days a week, 10 hours a day. And then our maintenance and processing departments are 24/7. Maintenance, we just moved them to 24/7 back in July. So next slide, please. So here's kind of a breakdown of our products. Primarily what we manufacture here is the Hidden Valley Ranch, of course. And then we will add the KC Masterpiece barbecue sauce and sauces and marinades. Kitchen Bouquet, so I've been with the company for 35 years, and Kitchen Bouquet has been here ever since. It stays on your shelf for quite a while. And then you see our dry dressings as well. But primarily what is run here is the ranch dressing. And if you go to the next slide, you can see it broken out here. So 50% of our volume is ranch off there to the left. And then about 27% of our volume adds maybe buttermilk and the KC Masterpiece in the back there. And then off to the right, 23% of the volume is just added different flavors, different sizes. And then you see the KC Masterpiece in there as well. Next slide, please. So our current openings, so a machine operator, that is basically our entry-level position. It's an 8-hour shift, and it's primarily for our night shift, 10 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. Monday through Friday. Entry-level pay for that is $19.91, and you will skill block up to about $23, $24 an hour once you've completed the skill block on that. Maintenance mechanics, we are in desperate need of mechanics. Like I said, they did switch to a 12-hour shift back in June, early July. Starting pay for that is $28.72, all the way up to about $33 an hour as a fully qualified mechanic. And then we also have an electrical controls technician. They as well, that position as well is for a night shift, 12 hours. And again, starting at $28.72, skill blocking up to about $33. And right now, these positions right now, blender operator and fork truck operator, we are not hiring for, but we anticipate there will be future openings coming up on those. Next slide. And then we also do have some salaried positions available. We are looking for an assistant plant manager, maintenance manager, and then a night shift production supervisor. I don't have any more slides after this, but just a couple things to note. So we do have benefits as far as medical, dental, vision, 401k, vacation pay, sick pay, bereavement, parental leave for both mother and father. And what was the last thing we were going to add?
And also, if you are interested in applying to any of these roles, you'll just want to go online to the Clorox company /careers, because we are a wholly owned subsidiary of the Clorox company. So if you just Google Clorox company, and then it should give you a spot to just go to careers, and then it's easy peasy lemon squeezy from there. But if you are interested, you could either contact myself or Tracy. It is Jaron, so JARON .urban, URBAN @Clorox.com. And then I could also help you out for applying, or if you have any questions from there on.
Ms. Urban, a big thank you to you and your team. Your time is much appreciated. Thank you. Our next panelist.
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, thank you. Your next panelist is Elizabeth Remui, and representing Midwestern University. Good morning, Elizabeth. How are you today?
Good, how are you? My name is Elizabeth Remui, and I am the HR specialist at Midwestern University. I will begin by reading our EEOC statement. It is the policy of Midwestern University to provide equal opportunity employment to all applicants and employees. Midwestern University is an equal opportunity affirmative action employer that does not discriminate against an employee or applicant based upon race, color, religion, creed, national origin, or ancestry. Ethnicity, sex, including pregnancy, gender, including gender expressions, gender identity and sexual orientation, marital status, age, disability, citizenship, past, current, or prospective service in the uniformed services, genetic information, or any other protected class in accord with all federal, state, and local laws, including 41 CFR, 60-1.4A, 250.5A, 300.5A, and 741.5A. Midwestern mission statement. Midwestern University's historical and sustaining philosophy dedicates the institution and its resources to the highest standards of academic excellence to meet the educational needs of the healthcare community. Midwestern University is a graduate and postgraduate university that specializes in health sciences. Midwestern University houses 2 campuses here in Downers Grove, Illinois, and Glendale, Arizona. Both campuses are very similar and provide same programs. The only difference is that in Arizona, they have College of Veterinary. There are 7 colleges, which include College of Osteopathic Medicine, College of Health Sciences, such as occupational therapy, physical therapy, physician assistant, speech language pathology, and behavioral medicine. We also have College of Dental Medicine, College of Pharmacy, College of Optometry, College of Graduate Studies. It started in Chicago Hyde Park in 1900. At that time, it was known as Chicago College of Osteopathic Medicine. Then in 1986, they moved to Downers Grove, and in 1995, they started the Arizona campus. In Illinois, we have 703 employees, which includes faculty and staff. And in Arizona, they have 998 employees, which also includes faculty and staff. The jobs that we're hiring for are sterilization assistant position, which requires a high school diploma or equivalent and a minimum of 1 to 2 years work experience in sterilization. This position pays $18.50 an hour. We then have research assistant pharmacology, which requires a bachelor's degree in biological sciences or chemistry with 0 to 2 years working in the lab. And that position pays $19.75 an hour. We have students activities coordinator, which requires a bachelor's degree and 1 to 3 years in student affairs, student life or related experience, and the position pays $23.50 an hour. We have front desk assistant, second shift, which requires high school diploma or equivalent and 1 to 2 years in administrative support. And again, the position pays $17.65. The hours are 12:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. We have library technician support part-time, which requires a bachelor's degree or library technical assistant certification with 1 year of related experience, or associate's degree with 2 to 3 years of related library experience is required. This position is Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. and it pays $19.75 an hour. We have testing center proctor part-time, which requires an associate's degree or equivalent from a 2-year college technical school is required and 1 to 3 years of work experience. It pays $19.75 an hour. It's Monday through Friday from 3:15 p.m. to 7:15. Periodically, there are positions such as building mechanics, security positions, and general maintenance, which all require high school diploma with some experience. Currently, these positions are not posted, but will be in the near future, which is why I highly recommend if you could visit our website at www.midwestern.edu. Under quick links, click employment at Midwestern University, then you will be able to view our current job openings. Most of our interviews are conducted virtually. However, there are some departments that are conducting face-to-face interviews. We are currently taking additional steps to keep our campus safe during the pandemic, which includes requiring visitors to wear a mask as well as complete health screening prior to coming to campus. We are committed to providing a safe workplace and following the CDC recommendations on wearing face coverings. It is expected that all job applicants will wear a face covering during their interview. If you do not have one available, one will be provided for you. Midwestern University has amazing benefits. All our insurance benefits begin on the first of the month following the date of hire. We have medical coverage with Blue Cross Blue Shield available for all employees who work 30 or more hours a week. Other benefits for employees who work 20 hours or more include vision coverage through IMED, dental coverage through Delta. We have flexible spending accounts, life insurance, short-term disability, long-term disability, time off benefits, which includes vacation time, flex time, and personal days. We also provide 1-day volunteer time off. Midwestern recognizes Martin Luther King Jr. Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving Day, day after Thanksgiving, and we also have a president holiday break, which includes 2 weeks during winter break, and that's paid. We have paid parental leave, 403 retirement plan, where Midwestern will contribute 10% of your salary. We have supplemental 403 retirement plan. We have tuition reimbursement, where we offer 90% of the costs, which ranges from $3,500 to $10,000 per calendar year. We have tuition relief, childcare subsidy, adoption assistance, relocation stipend, identify theft protection, training and development opportunities. We have wellness program, employee assistance program, pet insurance, and other discounts. For contact information, you can email me at erim@midwestern.edu, or phone number is 630-515-7107. Thank you, and let me know if you have any questions.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for your support. It's greatly appreciated and your time. Our next panelist is Ms. Courtney Anderson, representing National Tube and Supply. Good morning, Courtney. How are you doing today, ma'am?
Doing well. Thank you so much. As introduced, I am Courtney. I am the HR generalist over at National Tube Supply. If you want to go ahead and go to the next slide, I can go into what we do at National Tube. National Tube Supply is a distributor of mechanical steel tubing. Our steel tubing is used for anything rotational or hydraulic. We are strategically located in University Park, Baytown, Texas, Beaver, West Virginia, Moreno Valley, California, and Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. Of course, the area that we are looking to recruit for is going to be out in our University Park, Illinois location. We are one of the national's largest suppliers of carbon and alloy mechanical steel tubing. A lot of the equipment that we are operating, as you can see in some of the pictures, are going to be industrial bandsaws. We will be operating overhead cranes, side loaders, forklifts every so often, and a couple other pieces of equipment. If you'd like to go to the next slide. So as I mentioned, we are our steel tubing is used for anything rotational or hydraulic. So in the pictures, at least 3 out of the 4 pictures, we're seeing some of the hydraulics side of things. In the top left picture, we see the airplane with the airplane landing gear. The picture below it is a building stabilizer with pieces of steel tubing that are used, 2 pieces together for the hydraulics to be able to stabilize that building. And then as you can see, we do have the CAT equipment as well on that hydraulics. The rotational side of things, it can be used for pieces of equipment like printing presses, wood chippers. Once the teeth are machined into the steel tube, just depending on what our customers need, we will go ahead and cut it down to a specific length and rebundle those smaller quantities. And as well as a conveyor we use on that rotational side of things as well. If you'd like to go on to the next slide, I can go into some of the positions that we have available or that we're recruiting for currently. The position and shifts that we do have, so currently we are recruiting for a first shift production supervisor on our first shift. Our second shift, we are recruiting for some material handlers. We do have, actually that is 2 receiving Hubtex side loaders that's just been updated in the last couple days. And then we do have a bandsaw operator that we're recruiting for. And then on our third shift, we have one receiving Hubtex side loader operator, 1 bandsaw operator, and 1 overhead crane operator. So Hubtex side loader, reach truck cherry picker experience, would be great. Forklift experience would be great if we can go ahead and transition into, we could go ahead and transition that information to training. With the bandsaw, again, think industrial sized as in the pictures. And then with the overhead crane, it is a dual hoist. So we are using C-hooks, we are using chains, we are using straps to move our steel tube from our receiving area into our inventory. We are moving the inventory over to saws. Once it's cut, we're moving it over into our area for it to go out into shipping. And again, we're loading the trucks to go out to our customers. So if you'd like to go on to the next slide, I can go into hours and benefits. So our first shift hours for that supervisor kind of is going to possibly be a little bit adjusted. Of course, with supervisory positions, that is going to be a 7 to 3:30, but of course, there are going to be some things that may require, hey, stay a little after, come in a little earlier, just depends on what projects and work needs to be done. Second shift hours is 3 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Our second shift does earn a 50-cent shift differential, and our third shift hours are from 11 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. They do earn a $1 shift differential. With any of the benefits that we have for our employees, we do have paid holidays according to our company schedule. That does round out to about 9 or 10, depending on how things lay on the company calendar. We do provide, some of the benefits that the employees are eligible for are medical, dental, and vision, life insurance, short and long-term disability, accident, critical illness insurance, and we do have a 401k with a company match. Our employees, with the exception of the production supervisor, are paid weekly, so every Friday, which is great. And then a little note at the bottom, I do want to point out, if you are asked to join the National Tube Supply team, you will be required, we do require you complete a post-offer hair follicle drug test that does have a 3 to 6 month window and a pre-employment background check. We have also recently added a pre-employment COVID-19 test as well, which we will, if we decide to get to that point, then that will be all taken care of at the time of your hair follicle drug test as well. One thing that I forgot to mention, you do earn sick and vacation time as well. That is accrued on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, depending on that pay schedule, again, between the production supervisor and the material handlers. So you can go ahead and move on to the next slide. So with my contact information, I do want to point out my personal email is listed there. So if there are any questions from today, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to get back to you as soon as I possibly can. If you are interested in any of the positions, you can apply going to our National Tube Supply website and clicking on our careers page. Or if you'd like, if you're watching this on your computer and you have your phone handy and ready for you, you can open up your camera or your QR reader and you can go ahead and quickly scan the QR code. If you scan that QR code, then it will bring you directly to our careers page. I will also be providing our link in the chat and my email as well. So if there are any additional questions, and I'll of course be on if they're for the Q&A section as well. Thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone coming out today. All right.
Courtney, thank you so much for joining us today. Your support is very much appreciated. Our next panelist is Ms. Kate Nelson, representing Rosalind Franklin University. Good morning, Kate. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Hello, everyone. My name is Kate Nelson, and I'm the hiring coordinator at Rosalind Franklin University. Just to tell you a little bit about me, while I am not personally a veteran, I am married to one. My husband is very recently retired from the Army. I've been at RFU for just over a year, but I have a background in hiring and recruitment for a lot of different jobs and a lot of different industries in different parts of the country. So if we could move on to the next slide, I'd like to tell you a little bit about RFU. So RFU is a private nonprofit health sciences university located in North Chicago. We're actually right next door to Lavelle FHCC. We've been in the area since 1980, although we've grown a bit since they first moved into that location. And the university is made up of the Chicago Medical School, Show Podiatric College, the College of Pharmacy, College of Health Professions, and the School of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies. We're a bit different from other universities in the fact that all of our programs are graduate level programs only. So we're a smaller university. We only have about 2,000 students. Many of our students and faculty and staff serve the local community through the Rosalind Franklin University Health Clinics and also through partnerships with Lavelle. Many of our medical residents are completing their residency at Lavelle, and some of the physicians on staff at Lavelle are also RFU faculty members. Our workforce is made up of both faculty and staff positions. We have about 645 full-time employees and 208 part-time employees. You do not need to be a doctor to work for RFU. I get that question sometimes because we are a medical school. While most of our faculty do have advanced degrees, the bulk of our positions are staff positions, and those are non-teaching positions, and they require various levels of education and experience. Some only require a high school diploma, others may require a bachelor's degree. So if we could go ahead and jump to the next slide. So why work for RFUMS? Well, we have excellent benefits. So that includes our medical plan. We have dental, vision, a 403B retirement plan. We have a very generous time off policy, which includes vacation time, sick time, and holiday pay. Staff positions come in with 3 weeks of vacation per year. And 3 weeks of sick time. Those are accrued separately. We also have 12 paid holidays a year plus 2 floating holidays. Those 2 floating holidays are used in a similar fashion to vacation time. They just don't roll over from year to year. RFU offers a great work-life balance. Most of our full-time positions are considered full-time at 37.5 hours a week, although we do have a handful of positions that work 40 hours a week. We have some longtime employees who've been with us for years, and they can attest also to the work-life balance of RFU. I think our managers do a great job of making sure people are putting their families first. We also offer stability. We have been very lucky in that we have not had to have any layoffs or anything due to COVID. And many of our positions have been able to work remotely. We have a few that are required to be on campus, such as our security officers. But many positions are at least able to work part of the time from home while the university is in remote operations. So if we could go ahead and go on to the next slide. These are some of our current openings that we have available right now. Security officers and the security screener, those are both part-time positions, but we do occasionally have full-time security officer positions available. We are also looking for a coordinator for our environmental health and safety department. This is largely an administrative position, but if you have some experience doing environmental health and safety work, that would be helpful for getting your foot in the door with this position. We also have a variety of IT positions, such as desktop support, an audio visual specialist, and then a manager for application systems. We frequently look for administrative assistant type positions. We do have one open now. We also have positions that come available within the health clinic. So for example, right now we are looking for a patient service representative, that's somebody who essentially works at the front desk of the health clinic. But we do occasionally look for positions such as medical assistants, RNs, counselors. So if we have any medical professionals out there, we do hire for those types of positions on occasion as well. If you are interested in applying with RFU, there is a link at the bottom. It's www.rosalindfranklin.edu. If you go to our employment page, you can find more information regarding the benefits available at RFU, as well as the full list of current openings with RFU. All of our positions do require an application to be filled out online. We ask that you make sure that you go through the entire application and fill out all of the questions and submit a resume as well. Detailed information about your previous positions is always helpful to our hiring managers when they're making the determination on who they are going to be bringing in for interviews. So that is what I had for you today. If we go to the next slide, my contact information is there. So if anybody has any questions, you are welcome to send me an email and I'll be happy to answer them.
All right, Kate. We know how valuable everyone's time is, and we want to thank you for yours and thank you for your continued support. Our next panelist is Mr. Mark Potempa, and he's representing Smithfield Foods. Good morning, Mark. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. So, all right, so this is going to be a little unique. Looks like, unfortunately, the slides we're not able to upload. So I'm going to go ahead and crank through these on my screen and kind of just talk through a little bit about Smithfield. So obviously, thank you for the time today. If anyone does not know about Smithfield Foods, we're a global food company that's located all throughout the world. We employ 55,000 employees, and predominantly here in the U.S., we have about 40,000 employees that are spread all throughout the U.S. here. We got 45 facilities, 524 hog farms, and about 2,100 contract farms just here in the U.S. Some of the core brands that we have is obviously Smithfield Foods, Armour Eckridge, Nathan's Hot Dogs, Kretschmar, and there's probably about 13 other brands that are included under this umbrella. So at our location here, the location that the positions are open at, while you can see all the positions available at our website, which is listed there on the screen, at smithfieldfoods.com/careers, the positions that we're currently recruiting for are located here in St. Charles, Illinois. This is the biggest dry sausage facility in the country and potentially soon to be the world. Our facility here was built in 1973, our property sits at about 23 acres in size. Building is about 313,000 square feet. Relatively large facility here. I guess not compared to some of the other vendors that have communicated obviously their businesses. However, one really cool thing is even though COVID has impacted many companies as well as ours, we have not laid off a single employee through this entire pandemic. And as a matter of fact, our facility here is going through a $130 million expansion. And that is actually we just broke ground a week ago, and we need to hire approximately 120 people here in the next year. So it's going to be various positions in our production lines. So if you're machine operators, if you have any slicing machine experience in the food industry, we also have a raw manufacturing department. If you have any kind of blending experience, grinding experience, running large pieces of equipment, those are some of the various positions that we have available here. Above and beyond some of our technical positions, such as a maintenance electrician, as well as a mechanic. So a couple of things we're particularly proud of at our company here, being the biggest hog producer in the world, being the biggest packaged meats, protein meats provider in the world, and as well as we are the biggest pork processor here in the US. Another one of those items that we are very proud of is our veterans and who we employ here. So we have a program that's designed to help veterans transition into our workforce, something that we call Smithfield Salutes. And some of the programs that we have put together, the Smithfield Salutes is an employee business resource group for anyone that is internal that may be struggling, if it's internal issues, if it's external to the business. There are different resource groups within the organization here that are able to help out individuals that may have gone through similar situations that you particularly may be struggling with. There's also military training programs. We also have different mentorship opportunities within the business. And some of the awards and recognitions that we have had over the past couple of years in the best for vets, according to the Military Times in 2019 and 2020, we are the award winner for both of those years. It's a national recognition for Military Times, which recognizes companies for their efforts to recruit as well as support service members, veterans, and military families, as well as Virginia Values Veterans, considered the V3 award. We received that in 2019. There's a Triumph Award, as well as another award in 2019 is the Impact Award. It's for going above and beyond to make positive and long-lasting military community impact. So those are just some of the things that we are proud of. As far as going back to the positions, the positions, like I mentioned before, machine operators, we are looking for general laborers as well as maintenance mechanics. Our entry-level wage starts at $15.70 per hour. Go up, range between about 18 to about 23 for our general production, as well as our operating positions. And then our mechanic positions start at right around $25 an hour and up. If you do have experience, if you don't have experience in maintenance, however, perhaps you do have some in the military, that would be a great starting point to get you into our training programs. We have level 1 and level 2 training programs where we partner together with local community colleges that will further develop your skill sets if it's involving welding or if it's PLC programming, different technical skills that you'll be able to pick up, and we can train you here internal. So again, as far as the next steps, if you are interested in any of these opportunities, my contact information there is listed on the screen. The website, smithfieldfoods.com, there'll be a careers section. Go into that careers section and you search for St. Charles facility. You'll see all of our job postings that are available. And actually one that just unfortunately I did not mention earlier, we also have salary exempt positions that are available when it comes to production supervision. So just a wide range of opportunities here. Again, if you are interested, visit our website and or contact me directly, and I'll be more than happy to help out. Thank you for your time, everyone.
Thank you, Mark. First of all, I'd like to apologize for the problems we had with your slides. Very sorry about that. And thank you for rolling with the punches and forging forward and still giving us a great presentation. So thank you for your time, sir. Our next panelist, our last panelist, and certainly not our least, is Miss Valerie Torres, representing X-Cel Technologies. Good morning, Valerie. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing well. I hope everyone's doing well and staying safe. And thank you for being here. I will be presenting X-Cel Technologies. Again, my name is Valerie Torres, and I am the HR generalist for X-Cel. Next slide, please. All right, so X-Cel Technologies is a precision machine shop in the south suburbs of Chicago. We are located in Tinley Park, right off of 80 in Harlem. Here at X-Cel, we manufacture complex parts that require state-of-the-art equipment and high-level expertise in machining. So we are a CNC shop. It is a family-run business, and it is a one-stop shop, which is great. We provide both short and long production runs with prototyping capabilities. So this starts from receiving blueprints, getting specifications, to the production of the parts, to quality control, and then delivery. Next slide, please. So we do heavily focus on quality control. We understand the necessity and importance for quality work, which is why that is our main priority. Part of the job openings that we have are CNC operators, and part of the CNC operator responsibility and tasks is inspection and quality. We use inspection equipment that includes gauges and different instruments, and state-of-the-art non-contact measuring systems with CMM capability. And then we have a few different inspection equipments that touch on a lot of things. We are ISO Control 9001 certified, and it is the driving force behind the quality system. We do serve multiple different industries that do require close tolerance. So this includes the fluid powered industry, communications, instrumentation, navigational, and then we are in the sports and recreational side. The owner of X-Cel Technologies is also the owner of a company called Bettinardi Golf, which specializes in the production of putters. Next slide, please. So due to the highly tolerant precision parts that we manufacture, it is mandatory for us to use the finest machining centers and equipment available. The machine shop here is heavily equipped with state-of-the-art CNC machining centers, which include both lathes with turning machines, as well as 3-axis, 4-axis, and 5-axis mills. The more axis there is, the more capabilities that they are. And this highly influences the reliability and precision of our parts. We also have a full in-house deburring and finishing department that includes hands-on vibratory and blasting and polishing. Next slide, please. So the position that we are hiring for is a CNC machine operator. CNC machine operators are skilled professionals able to work with great precision. They must be responsible and comply with all safety guidelines. Some of the things that we really look for is someone with a keen eye for detail, mechanical aptitude, and then of course, reliability. Our CNC machine operators operate several CNC machines. This includes the loading and unloading of bars of material into the machine correctly. You monitor the operation as the machine is running. And then once the operation is done, you make sure to load in your new material. You got to make sure that the machine is operating at all times. And while the operators are waiting for the operation inside the machine, they're also working with all the parts coming out of the machine. They're taking measurements, inspecting material, again, using different inspection equipment, such as calipers, micrometers, bore gauges, and depth gauges. They do need to understand and follow specifications of tasks by reading blueprints and work instructions. And then, of course, it's very important that they observe and follow company safety rules and regulations, as well as OSHA. What's great about X-Cel Technologies is that we do offer on-the-job training. So experience in CNC operating is not required. Although it is preferred, we do offer a great on-the-job training program. So employees will come in fresh and they will be taught everything that they need to know in order to become a skilled CNC operator. Here at X-Cel, we do have two different shifts available. We have a first shift and a second shift. Both shifts are 10 hours. The first shift runs from 6 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and our second shift runs from 4:15 p.m. to 2:15 a.m. For someone that is starting fresh, is entry level, we do start at $14 per hour. But what is great about the CNC machine operator job is there is a lot of room for growth. There is more to running a machine than just the loading and unloading. So there's a lot of room for growth, a lot of skills that can be learned, which of course also come with compensation to match that. To apply to X-Cel Technologies, we have three ways. You can either come into our facility and apply in person. You can send an email, which is on the screen. That'll go directly to me. And you can also give me a call to my direct line to apply and ask for any questions that you may need to know about this position. Next slide, please. And then in conclusion, I'd just like to show you here our mission statement. It says to provide customers with high quality parts that will exceed their expectations and develop a long-term partnership. We will grow our organization by providing our employees with the latest technologies and continuous improvement processes that will lower waste and increase profitability. What is great about this being a family-owned business, we do look for a lot of growth, of course, within ourselves, but we'd like to grow with our employee base as well. And that is all I have for X-Cel. So thank you everybody for your time.
Valerie, thank you. We know how busy everyone's time is, and we're very appreciative. Thank you so much for joining us and supporting us. This concludes the employer presentation portion of our event. I'll now turn over the session to our SIU team for questions and answers. And enjoy your day, everybody. And thank you so much for your support. All yours, Daniel.
Thank you so much, Mike. And I just want to take a moment to thank all of the presenters here today. Thank you for your thorough presentations and all the information presented here, and then obviously your support for the veteran community. Okay, with that, we will go ahead and transition into the Q&A session. I just kind of want to give a brief overview of how that will be structured for those that are still on the call. Primarily, I will be pulling questions from the chat section. Hopefully you all have asked some good questions during each of the sessions. So I'll just work through sequentially through all the questions that are in the chat. If we run out of questions from the chat section, I have just a standard list of generalized questions that I will ask each employer. What we'll do is we'll just move sequentially through the schedule today, starting with AAR and ending with X-Cel. The first question that I have is actually directed towards Evie Ortega with DCFS. This individual asks, bachelor or master for DCFS position?
So our preferred degree for the child protection specialist and child welfare specialist positions is a master's in social work, in which case you would not need experience. However, we do accept bachelor's level degrees in a human services related field with 1 to 2 years post-degree experience in social worker investigations. So those are fields like human services, psychology, sociology, criminal justice, for example. And if you have those degrees, but you don't have the experience, you can also apply for our Children and Family Services intern position. That's that trainee title that will allow you to get that experience with DCFS while earning a salary.
Thank you, Evia. And I just do want to reiterate before we pivot to our next question, if you do have any questions for any of the presenters that presented here today, please feel free to enter those into the chat and we will be sure to get those answered for you. The next question will actually be directed towards all of the remaining employers on here today. This individual asks, do those on the panel find most of these programs are for veterans transitioning out of the service and into the corporate world, or do you find these acceptable for mid-career manager/senior manager roles as well? We can go ahead and begin with Troy with AAR. Troy, are you available to answer that question? It does not appear that we have Troy on the call still, so we can go ahead and transition to Argonne Labs.
Yeah, could you just repeat the question one more time?
Yeah, no worries. This individual asked, do those on the panel find most of these programs are for veterans transitioning out of service and into the corporate world, or do you find these acceptable for mid-career managers or senior manager roles as well?
For Argonne specific, I think a lot of ours are kind of the mid-career. It's kind of a blend. I think we'll get people right out of the military service for maybe a lot of our more hands-on type jobs. And then I think we still have a lot of like mid-career type positions because of a lot of our positions here. They typically do require some sort of, relevant working experience, and some people might have that from the military and some people might not. So we recruit people, a lot of times, handful of years already out of the military and they already have corporate experience.
Fantastic.
And I can add to that too. My personal experience, this is Kevin, was I was hired straight out of the military. So my last day on active duty was November 1st last year, and I started at the lab on November 4th. But to echo what Vitali was saying, it's very true. We have a little bit of everything, whether you're coming straight out of the military or if you've been out for a while.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kevin. Any other representatives from Baxter? Would you like to answer that question?
Sure. It's going to be a mix for experience levels, depending on what position that they're going into. If it's more of a production style warehouse, that skill set transitions very well. If they're wanting to go into more of a supply chain engineering procurement, a lot of times it does require some experience. So it just kind of depends on their level.
Fantastic. Thank you. Evia?
So I would say that we have a mix. Of course, we have the positions that I mentioned today, they're very specialized. And so we have specialized degree requirements behind that in conjunction with experience requirements. However, those are not all of the positions with DCFS or with state of Illinois agencies. So we do have a healthy mix of both veterans re-entering the workforce in public sector or private sector companies, as well as mid-level career changes. I've got plenty of those going on as well. So it would not be something that if you're not a veteran, I would highly encourage you to still apply.
Fantastic. Thank you, Evia. Jaron with Hidden Valley. Jaron, are you able to answer that question? Does not appear that we have Jaron available at the moment, so we will go ahead and move to Midwestern University. Elizabeth, can you answer that question?
Sure. I would say for us it's a combination. It depends on what the job requirements are. We have positions from high school diploma all the way to even faculty, which I did not discuss. However, depending on what the job requirements are, veterans are more than welcome to apply.
Fantastic. Thank you, Elizabeth.
And
Courtney,
hey, Daniel,
National-
sorry we missed your question.
Yeah, no worries. Would you like to go ahead and answer that?
Can you repeat the question one more time for us?
Yeah, no worries. Give me one moment here. This individual asks, do those on the panel find most of these programs are for veterans transitioning out of the service and into the corporate world? Or do you find these acceptable for mid-career manager and or senior manager roles as well?
Yes, absolutely.
I think both. I think it's applicable to both. We've actually had a decent amount of people just come in from this type of background and they're doing great. And then we also have individuals who have had other types of backgrounds that, you know, are really also succeeding in the roles. So I would say they're open to anyone willing to kind of put forth some effort and really get into a pretty good company and grow.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jaron. Next, we have Rosalind Franklin. Kate Nelson, could you answer that question?
Sure. So it's a mix for us as well. You know, it really just depends on the position and what the requirements are for that position. Many of our veterans tend to join our campus safety team. That seems to be where we have the largest population of veterans, but we have them in other positions as well. It really just kind of depends on what, you know, specifically that person did in the military. And then maybe what they've done beyond that, if they've had some other positions in the civilian world. So yeah, we're kind of the same as everyone else. It's generally a mix.
Fantastic. Thank you for that response, Kate. Next, we have Mark with Smithfield. Mark, would you like to answer that question as well? Hi, Mark. Are you available to answer that question? Doesn't appear that Mark is available at the moment, so we will go ahead and give Valerie with X-Cel Technologies an opportunity to answer that question.
Yes, so at X-Cel, we definitely are open to all applicants. As I said in my presentation, we do take entry-level employees. So even if you don't have a background in CNC, we will provide all the on-the-job training. And then if you do have a background that is similar or it is in CNC, we also consider those applicants as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Valerie. And I just do want to reiterate for anyone that has any questions for the employers that are still on the call today, please feel free to go ahead and ask those questions in the chat and we'll get those answered for you. You have a prime opportunity right now to get all the information that you're seeking regarding any of the positions that were covered here today. So please don't be shy, enter those into the chat and we'll get those answered for you. I do not have any other participant questions at the moment. So what we'll go ahead and do is just transition into some general questions. As I stated before, we will go ahead and we'll start with Argonne since AAR is no longer on the call. Argonne, can you kind of elaborate on how an applicant might be able to stand out during the application process? Is there anything that perhaps they should include in their resume? Any sort of character traits they might want to highlight? Anything of that sort?
I think from my experience, cover letters are important, and I think cover letters kind of help you stand out amongst other applicants. It kind of gives you the opportunity to walk you through your career and your background and kind of paint a little bit of a picture outside of your resume to the manager why you're interested in the position. I think just additionally, any type of like skills, whether they're you know, technical skills or maybe some soft skills, I think it's important to have that included on there as well too. Kevin, I don't know if you have anything else you want to add.
Not really. I would completely agree with you on the soft skills piece. And the other thing I would share is, right, we didn't really cover them in our presentation, but as an organization, we do have a set of core values. And that's something that's available, information that's available to you on the public website. So if that's something that, you know, you look at the core values and say, yeah, that's me, you'll fit in good here.
Fantastic. Thank you both. And I do kind of want to add an additional element to this. I just received a question in the chat. So perhaps each of you can kind of elaborate on this question as you're also answering the original question about how an applicant might be able to stand out. But this individual asks, can you kind of explain if the cover letter is still an effective medium on an application? Argonne, you can go ahead and answer that question while we still have you.
I think it is. I think there's certain formatting that is most effective for different types of cover letters. I think first and foremost, you want to express the first paragraph, why you're interested in this position. And then I think, the next couple paragraphs, you can express why, or I guess how your experience relates to the position. And I think just the fourth paragraph of just concluding it, and just wrapping things up. So that's the format that, I went to a seminar on around cover letters, and it seems like that's the most effective. So one, introduction, next two, certain experiences and how it ties into the position. And then lastly, just the fourth paragraph, just kind of wrapping things up with it.
Fantastic. Thank you for that explanation, sir. Next to answer that question, Baxter. Hi there. Are any of the representatives from Baxter, still on the call and able to answer either of those questions? Doesn't appear that is the case. So DCFS with Evie Ortega.
Hi, so I might confuse some people out there. Let me start by saying that the state has a very different application process than what you'll see in private sector. So we don't take cover letters, we don't take resumes. You have to complete our application. The best way to stand out on the application is to be very detailed in your work history. Again, the biggest mistakes I see on that is where people are being too vague. They'll copy and paste job descriptions. And if you've ever seen a job description, it by no means incorporates all of the skills and duties that you've performed in that position. So it's very important that you detail that, because we're not allowed to make assumptions of what you may or may not have done. So if you don't tell us about it in the application, we can't give you the credit for it. So again, that's very different than what you'll see in private sector companies. It's one of the things about state of Illinois application process. It's definitely outside the norm. But the process is typically the same for most state of Illinois agencies. So once you get one down, it's pretty easy from there.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Evie. Hidden Valley and Jaron, are you able to answer that question?
Yes. So in order to have your resume really stand out with us, we really push and thrive to have people attach their resumes. Attaching your resume is a crucial part in having your application be moved on to the next step in the process, which would be the review process. In these resumes for individuals to be highly considered, I would really suggest having as detailed of resumes as possible. So if you have a previous role somewhere, kind of giving and outlining what you did in that role, giving me 3 or 4 bullet points under each role, telling me some detailed work that can kind of be applied to the specific role we're hiring for. Detail oriented is a big part of a lot of these roles. So having all of your spelling correct and, having the spacing nice and just kind of making it look and presented how you would want to be presented in front of people. Does that make sense? So really just kind of outlining it as much as possible, as much detail as you can give with all the past positions that you've had, and really just attaching that resume will guarantee you that review step in the process.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jaron. Midwestern University, Elizabeth, can you answer that question?
Sure. So with the resumes, I would say be very clear. Customize your resume to fit the job posting, and definitely it's important to have a clear objective. And then as far as the cover letter, Make sure to tailor the cover letter to the specific job, keep it brief, and my suggestion would be to speak as if you're already hired, because it kind of helps us, or rather you're showing your interest. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. National Tube Supply, Courtney.
In our case, for the positions that we're currently recruiting for, the cover letter, probably not the most effective thing. We'd rather get straight to the point with your work experience. There are other positions that, may warrant it, but it's not something on a day-to-day with our recruiting that it would be something that we would see. As far as standing out with your resume or application, with ours, with the way that it goes is it's upload your resume and basically call it, answer a couple questions, and call it a day. So with the resume, what you're wanting to make sure is an accurate email address is listed there in the information on your resume. An active phone number is there and on your resume. And then as well as pointing out that it doesn't need to all be just relative information as far as, hey, like, don't get me wrong, I would love to see someone who is specifically pinpointing a particular job. However, there are some instances where maybe that job was you were only there for 6 or 8 months, maybe a year, 2 years, whereas they had a position that maybe doesn't exactly correlate, but they were there for 10 years. I would love to see, some of those situations. So just because it's pinpointed information doesn't mean that that is going to be the exact way to sell yourself, depending on what your previous work experience looks like.
Fantastic. Thank you for that explanation, Courtney. Rosalind Franklin, Kate Nelson, would you like to answer that question?
Sure. So I think for the vast majority of our positions, we do encourage a cover letter. We like to know why you're interested in that position and why you're interested in working for Rosalind Franklin University. It's also a good time to really kind of highlight some of those soft skills that are necessary for a lot of our positions. So like your ability to communicate, leadership skills, problem solving, things like that. All of those things, they're frequently in a resume as well, and we do require a resume for all of our positions. But sometimes sometimes they're harder to see exactly how the experience in a resume can fit into a position at RFU. And so a cover letter is a perfect way to, clarify, how you could fit in at the university. So for us, yeah, we definitely like to see those for the majority of our positions.
Thank you so much, Kate. I see we still have Mark from Smithfield on the call. I know we ran into some audio issues earlier, so I don't know if you're able to unmute yourself, but you are more than welcome to take a stab at that question as well.
Yeah, hi. It's very similar to what everyone else is saying. I mean, making sure you're very detailed on the cover letter. If you are submitting one, really depends on what position you're going for. For our production hourly positions, typically we don't have any kind of cover letters. Resume would be wonderful. If not, a simple application is just fine as well. So cover letters are important for depending on what level or what position you're actually applying for. That's it.
Thank you, Mark. And then our final employer, Valerie with X-Cel. Would you like to answer that question?
Yes, so for X-Cel, cover letters are not necessary for us. What we do look at is resumes, making sure that you have a very detailed resume about your work experience as well. For us, some skills that we look for is just mechanical skills, critical thinking, being detail oriented, and also the ability to work both independently and then team oriented. The biggest thing for us is just we're looking for employees that are open to learning, they're reliable, and then when we get to the interview process, actually showing interest in the position and asking questions go a long way for us.
Fantastic. Thank you, Valerie. And I do have one more question that came in from the chat that's actually geared towards IDES. So Evia Ortega, this individual asked, do any of these positions offer remote employment or have locations in central Illinois, or are most of them Chicago suburbs?
So DCFS actually has offices all over the state due to the services that we provide. If we don't have an office in a county, maybe it's a smaller county, it'll be in the next county over. So these positions that I talked about today, they're literally all over the state. We are hiring all over the state. So they're not necessarily centralized because these are the staff that actually go out into the field and they have to contact the clients in order to provide these services. Currently, the majority of them are working remotely. I don't know if that is going to be something that's going to be maintained post-pandemic, but that is something that certainly is being considered. But right now, yes, majority of these positions are in remote status.
Fantastic. Thank you, Evia. And we have time for approximately one more question for each of the employers. So I will go ahead and just pose that for you now. This individual asks, how long does the onboarding process take from application to hire? I see Troy with AAR, you're back on. I'm not sure if you're able to unmute yourself, excuse me, to answer that question.
Yeah, the onboarding process usually for AAR is probably like a 3-week process. 1 week it'll be you do your background and require your analysis for DOT testing, and then also it's a background check which takes usually a week. Usually from between three weeks to 2.5 weeks. We'll get you an NDOT class scheduled, and then you'll go from there. The NDOT class is usually a week, and then after a week of in processing, you'll be able to start working in a prospective position.
Thank you so much, Troy. Kevin or Vitaly with Argonne, can you answer that question?
Yeah. First, I'll say from acceptance, usually it could be a week if there's no physical involved. There's certain positions at Argonne, like our maintenance mechanics and other hands-on type positions within our unions that do require physicals. So that could be potentially a month's onboarding process. From application, it honestly varies. We just have a wide range of positions. Some take 6 months to recruit, others take, a month or so. I think our average time to fill roughly is around 60 days though.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir. Daniel with Baxter, are you able to answer that question?
I can take that. From start to finish, the process is probably going to be around a month to 1.5 months, depending on the position. It could take longer. We allow about 3 to 4 weeks for background checks. And then normally the interview process is a 3-stage process where you'll speak with the recruiter, you'll move on to talk with the hiring manager, and then interview with a panel. So that whole process can take, anywhere from 3 weeks, depending on if it's a production, to 1.5 months for higher level roles.
Thank you so much, Kendra. Evia with DCFS.
So with the state, with DCFS, it takes about 2 months from once you submit your physical application to when you're physically onboarded. So it's been running a bit faster right now because we've got this huge push to fill a lot of vacancies throughout the state. But on average, it's about 2 months from start to finish. And that includes the interviews, background checks that we have to go through, and the paperwork.
Thank you, Evia. Jaren with Hidden Valley.
So the background process for our production employees typically take anywhere from 2 weeks to 1.5 months,
kind of just depending on your availability to come in and get some paperwork, the duration of time it takes you to actually accept the offer and then consent to a background screening. And then once all those requirements are fulfilled, then we go ahead and set a start date. I do want to preface that we are heading into holiday season. So with the holidays coming up, our hiring does tend to slow just a little bit because of a manager's availability and individuals' availability to onboard and actually train these individuals. We also have like a holiday shutdown schedule that we have to go by, and so no one would be hired during those particular weeks. So with that being said, I minimum 3 weeks to about a month and a half, kind of just depending on if everything checks out and the kind of the time of year that it goes by.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jaren. Midwestern University, Elizabeth, would you like to answer that question?
Sure. So once the interviews have been completed, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to have the background completed. We use a third party, so sometimes there might be delays because they're verifying education, employment. So once the background is completed, then we have onboarding. So roughly, I would say 2 to 3 weeks at the most. And then right now with the holidays coming up, we usually have 2 weeks off from somewhere around December 21st till January 2nd. So I would say in the next few weeks, things will be kind of slowing down and positions will only be approved upon special requests. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. National Tube Supply, Courtney.
So from application to hire, the whole reviewing applications and scheduling phone interviews is that varies. I would say between application to phone interview or even interview would maybe be a week and a half at most, if we'd like to go ahead and get that. And then from offer to actual onboarding paperwork, getting them started, depending on when that falls, could be again another week and a half, 2 weeks. We are at the mercy of the counties with the background checks, and then a hair follicle drug test does take about 3 to 5 business days, depending on when that gets sent out. And then we are also, as I mentioned during my presentation, we are doing a pre-employment COVID test as well. So it would be that factored in as well. So from application to hire, we'll probably see 2-3 weeks. And that's, I would say that would probably be a fast track, maybe even 2 weeks fast tracked, depending on when that all kind of played out. So.
Fantastic. Thank you, Courtney. Rosalind, Franklin, Kate.
Yes. So from the time the person accepts their offer, we can usually have them onboarded within the week. They do have to do a background check. Most of our paperwork and everything is done online. They do have to come to campus briefly on their first day to finish up some remaining paperwork items, but that process takes about a week. Now, from the time they submit an application, that really varies by position. We have some positions that move fairly quickly. From the time we post the position, we get a lot of applicants. They have interviews completed, within 3 to 4 weeks. Other positions take much longer, especially if they're looking for a particular skill set. But once the offer is made, everything moves pretty quickly and the person can start as early as the following week.
Thank you so much, Kate. Mark with Smithfield.
Yeah, as far as the onboarding process for our production hourly employees and or maintenance employees, typically the process takes up within and or around 7 days. Right now, our stats from last week, we're sitting at 4.6 days from when the time the individual applies to a position. There will be a phone call / interview with the individual within 24 hours. And then from there, if it's a good fit, the second interview is scheduled typically within 24 to 48 hours later, and then an offer and background will be placed within another 24 to 48 hours later. So for our salary exempt and non-exempt positions, from the time the person applies to boots on the ground in the facility, that process would take anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks, depending on if they are giving a 2-week notice to their previous employer. So any individual that does apply to our facility, they are required to not only have a background check completed, but a drug test, as well as a COVID-19 test done prior to working inside of the complex here. So having on-site COVID testing is very beneficial.
Thank you so much, Mark. And our final employer, X-Cel Technologies, Valerie.
So for CNC operators, the process usually takes about 2 to 3 weeks. And this is from the actual the application process to the start date. Usually within the first week, resumes are reviewed, and then candidates are scheduled for in-person interviews. From there, it may lead to a second in-person interview. And then offers could be made that week after. Once a selection is made, we do perform a background check, which takes a few days to complete. And then after that, we can start within just that same week when that the entire process is completed, depending on when the candidate can start and then when our training needs are available. So yeah, I would say altogether it could be from as little as 2 weeks to 3.
Fantastic. Thank you, Valerie. And with that, we will be concluding the Q&A session for this event. I just do want to thank all of the employers for their participation and thank you for all of the thorough, in-depth answers that were provided here today. Next, we are going to transition to the next phase of this presentation, and that will actually be given by IDES. Goran C., are you available to present?
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me now?
I can, sir.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, SIU. Thank you to all the employers. And thank you to everyone joining us today. Greetings to all. My name is Goran Ciganovic. Most people know me as SIG. I am a Veterans Career Coach with the Illinois Department of Employment Security. The official title is Disabled Veterans Outreach Program Specialist, or DVOP for short. I have been with IDES since 2018. I served in the United States Air Force as an aerospace propulsion journeyman, working on C-130s, H-860s, and A-10 aircraft. We here at the Illinois Department of Employment Security appreciate the selfless service of our U.S. military service members and spouses, and thank you all for your support. Next slide, please. At this time, I would like to provide a little background about the dedicated IDES team that assists veterans and connect them to meaningful employment opportunities. We are under the Department of Labor's JVSG grant, which stands for Jobs for Veterans State grant. We have 2 roles at IDES. Myself, Veterans Career Coach, DVOP, again, Disabled Veteran Outreach Program Specialist, work directly with veterans. And then we have another position, Veterans Business Specialists, or LEVERS, official title, Local Veteran Employment Representative, and they work with employers on the behalf of hiring veterans. Next slide, please. So the state of Illinois receives a JVSG grant annually to fund the program, which consists of 2 groups of veterans employment representatives, one being the Disabled Veterans Outreach Program Specialist. There are 22 authorized DVOPs within the state of Illinois, and the other position, the Local Veterans Employment Representative, LEVER for short. There are 18 authorized positions within the state of Illinois for that role. The number of positions are based on the annual grant funding amount provided by the Department of Labor. So To become a DVOP or leaver, staff members are required to have knowledge, skills, and mental development equivalent to 4 years of college in social and behavioral science, business administration, or marketing. Our staff are U.S. military service members. They must have a DD-214 that is characterized as anything besides dishonorable. DVOP specialists must also be VA service-connected disabled veterans. All of us are required within 18 months of hire to pass federally mandated core competency courses at the National Veterans Training Institute, also known as NVTI. Next slide, please. The Veterans Career Coach, or DVOP, is specifically trained to provide assistance to our veterans most in need. Our core functions are to conduct assessment interviews with each veteran that self-attests to one or more significant barriers to employment, or SBEs for short. We collaborate and create an individual employment plan with the veteran. We develop client interviews through job orders for veterans. And we partner with the Veterans Business Specialist, leaver, to develop job opportunities directly with area employers. So DVOP duties, again, we provide individualized career services to all veterans with significant barriers to employment, SBEs, conduct outreach activities at community and faith-based organizations and veteran service organizations. We partner with the VBS leaver to refer job-ready veterans for job development, and veterans with significant barriers to employment are able to receive assistance from all American Job Centers programs, also known as AJCs. Next slide, please. The other role, a leaver, the Veterans Business Specialist, their objectives are to promote the advantages of hiring veterans. They develop job opportunities for veterans that are working with the Veterans Career Coach. They advocate for all veterans within their American Job Center's operational area. In partnership with the Veterans Career Coach, DVOPs train the American Job Center staff and partners on how to provide employment services to veterans. Again, leaver duties include to promote to employers, employer associations, and business groups the advantages of hiring veterans. They advocate for all veterans served by the AJC staff with business, industry, and other community-based organizations. Leavers facilitate employment training and placement services furnished to veterans. And leavers may work directly with any AJC partner staff to assist with placing a specific veteran participant. Next slide, please. Thank you all for all that you do. Please visit our IDES website for more information about IDES and its programs and services. That's www.ides.illinois.gov. Please also visit Illinois Job Link for job opportunities. Thank you for your time today, and I will be turning it over to the SIU team, who will be providing a presentation on Illinois WorkNet.
Thank you very much, Sig. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Garvey with Southern Illinois University's Center for Workforce Development, and I work with Illinois WorkNet. I wanted to remind you all that today's session is being recorded and will be made available on the employer booth pages and our virtual job fair area for each of the employers who presented today, and the links to the employer booth pages have been shared in the chat. I also wanted to provide an overview of the Get Hired website. This is the one on the screen now. This can be reached by entering illinois.gov/gethired. And the Get Hired Illinois is a web portal that's been designed to connect workers with available job and career training opportunities across the state of Illinois. And then going through some of these tabs here, this Job Seekers Click Here button, this will take you to the landing page for Illinois Job Link, and through this site you can search for job postings that are available in Illinois. The virtual job fairs here, if you click that, that'll take you to the Illinois WorkNet virtual job fair landing page, where you can search for different employer booths and upcoming events. Up here on the screen, there's a keyword search that you can do with a search of hashtag veterans. You can see the employers who have presented this week and will present tomorrow's sessions, and more will be added as the week continues. To check out upcoming events, you'll just click this VJF events button, and that'll give you a calendar view where you can see what events have been scheduled and are on the calendar. And so I do want to remind that there are a couple sessions tomorrow, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And you can actually register for these events on this page on Eventbrite, which I am sharing in the chat. And the online training opportunities button, this will take you to the training quick start guide page on Illinois WorkNet. And this includes different training options that are available to you, from community colleges to WIOA approved training programs, other public and private programs, and apprenticeship opportunities. And back on the Get Hired site, below these buttons, there are additional resources you can access, including unemployment insurance and other resources from this page. And finally, I wanted to also make note of the Veterans Assistance Guide that we have on WorkNet. This guide is accessible from the homepage of Illinois WorkNet or by visiting illinoisworknet.com/vets. And you can navigate through this guide by clicking these arrows here or selecting this drop-down menu here. And this guide includes information and resources such as how to connect to benefits and services, translating skills you've earned in your service to the workforce, and preparing to search for a job. And additionally, we do link to other pages that have an abundance of resources available to veterans and their spouses. And I'd like to point out that all of the resources that have been mentioned just now are free to use for job seekers and will be accessible through this Get Hired Illinois page and Illinois WorkNet well beyond this week's events. And with that, I will turn it over to Richard with IDES for an opportunity to share any final remarks. Richard?
Thank you, Dave. Thank you to everyone again for taking part in today's Veterans Virtual Recruitment Series. Just as it was put into the chat box, I'd like to remind everyone that you can participate in our next event, 2 events for tomorrow. Our next sessions will have a new employer panel that will include the Belleville Boot Company, Continental Tire, Geodis, Illinois State Police, and Walgreens Distribution. Take care, thank you, and have a great rest of your day.